In this week's Parsha, Shalach Lachah, Moses and his people have been wandering in the desert for 40 years. Moses is instructed by God to send 12 scouts to explore the land and to report back about whether the people should go there to settle. The 12 scouts return and report that this is indeed a land of milk and honey, filled with promise for prosperity. However, 10 of the 12 scouts report that this is also a land of giants, and that the people will be devoured as they are but grasshoppers next to these giants. Only the scouts Joshua and Caleb see the potential for success in this land. They exhort the people to take a leap of faith and to trust in God's promised aid and protection. The people panic and cry that they never should have left Egypt. God hears their cries of doubt and is angered by their lack of faith in his promise to protect them. God condemns them to wander for 28 more years before they enter the promised land. The 10 scouts are severely punished. They become victims of a plague and die in the wilderness. Just as the Israelites in the wilderness were called to trust in God's promise, on June 19th, 1865, my enslaved black ancestors in America were also called to hold fast to a vision of a promised land, a vision not only of freedom, but dignity and equality, even when that promise seemed impossibly far away. The giants of segregation and systemic racism, the newly freed in Texas and our brothers and sisters in the rest of the United States faced were real. Forces meant to break body and spirit. But like Joshua and Caleb, they took a leap of faith. They chose to look beyond their fear and the harsh reality of their moment, and instead to believe in what was possible. They leaned on their faith, their community, and a deep trust that God had not forsaken them. That kind of faith, the kind that urged the newly freed men and women of Texas to step forward into that freedom, even when the path wasn't clear, is what carried them through the wilderness. And it's what continues to do so, to carry so many of us today still walking towards justice and healing. What does it mean in 2025 to take a leap of faith? I offer this food for thought. Is the current situation permanent, or are there certain bad aspects that can be addressed and overcome? Dr. Susan David, a noted psychologist, has said, courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is fear walking. How do we find the courage to keep walking on the path to justice in our greater community? Harvey Fields, in his work, A Torah Commentary for Our Times, writes that we too can conquer promised lands when we have regard for our talents and believe in our creative powers. How can we refuse to see ourselves as grasshoppers who will be killed by today's giants? Trust your instinct. What does your gut tell you is a way to address the complexities of the reality in which we find ourselves? What relationships in our wider community must we initiate, nurture, and sustain for the goal of living in a just world? Trust in God's promised help and protection. I leave you tonight with these words from Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 8. And the Lord, he is the one who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid, nor be dismayed. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.